year, Denny told us over and over about how valuable it was to play a team once and kind of they could learn the personnel and that's the year. You had a similar experience this year?
Yeah, totally. Not only playing specific teams more than once, but just like, I don't know, playing teams that play similar styles. I mean, just knowing where you need to be on the floor, little tricks of the trade that make your job easier, you know. Um, but yes, no, Denny's 100% right. Once you play a team a first time, that scouting report and the personnel starts to stick in your head, and you know, you can just react more than trying to think your way through a game like you are the first time you play somebody.
Does the fact that there's so much more data on the players in the NBA, some guys have played 15 years, is that in one way make it easier to study tendencies than it is in college? Obviously, not easy to stop.
Yeah, totally. And the NBA is amazing because, you know, guys get the best players get really good at, you know, two or three things. You know, there's superstars, but everybody else is, you know, really good at just a few things. And once you can hone in on those tendencies and figure out what each person does, you know, scouting becomes a little bit easier. You know, and I've always, you know, I've had the help of our vets this year, just like kind of being in my ear, like, Corey, I don't know, or I know you don't know this, but this guy loves going left. He's gone left his whole career. So just like having that kind of support on the back end too helps a lot.
Well, you mentioning the last time we spoke here, how valuable it was for you.
Mhm.
I'm curious, what kind of sacrifices did it require?
Yeah.
In order to just be careful.
Yeah, just, I mean, you know, hey, Corey, you want to go to dinner? Nope, sorry. Like, you want to hang out this weekend? Nah, I can't. Sorry. A lot of being here, being at Capital One, and being at home in reality, and that's just kind of what it took, and that was a conscious effort on my part. And you know, the sacrifice of kind of being by yourself and you know, hunkering in for 2-3 weeks was well worth it for me, considering the kind of impact I was able to have on the floor and the growth I was able to make, or growth I was able to have, you know, from my game personally. So it was not easy, and I'm sure a lot of guys were in the same shoes as I was. But yeah, I mean, it ended up working out really well, and was worth the temporary pain, I guess.
You're a young person, got lots of energy. You're in a new city that you've never lived in before. How tempting is it to just go out and try a new restaurant and walk around and do stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's not to say that I won't, you know, ever do it. I'm not going to just live in my apartment and never get fresh air and stuff like that. I feel a little bit better about it now that we have a full roster and guys that are, you know, I mean, we have plenty of guys who are capable of making a really big impact on games. So I felt like that measure was just more for that time period where we were really low on bodies, and you know, putting different rosters together each game. So now I can rest a little bit easier knowing that we have a full group of guys who are capable, you know, behind us.
Your adjustment to the NBA, how much more quickly do you have to get your shot off here, given the added size and added speed?
Yeah, there is added size and added speed, so it is a little bit quicker, but you know, also the 3-point line's further back, so there's more space, and so it does make it a little bit quicker, and you have to make quicker decisions for sure. Yeah, so when those guys are close to you, it makes it tough.
Speaking of that, I've seen you have sort of like a one release that's about takes about half the time as your normal one, particularly from the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you've had for a long time, or it's just kind of like quicker release?
Yeah, it's a conscious practice for sure, especially from the corners. Those corner threes are so valuable, you know, like analytically, and I've been introduced to that since I've gotten here. So, you know, anytime you can get a corner three up and make it, it's a good thing. So, when guys are closing out and that window's tight and you catch it above your shoulders, you got to keep it there and just shoot it. So, I've been working on that and practicing it. That's been in the cooker for a couple of years now.
What have been your impressions of Tom's Bryant?
He's been so good for us. His numbers and stats aside, he's just been good for our energy. I mean, he brings constant talk. He's always energetic. He's always ready to play. And then those periods of time in the middle of games or even in the middle of seasons where it's hard to get, fully excited and be on edge all the time, TB always is. So that's a huge asset for our team. And I think anybody would agree in saying that he lifts our spirits, every day.
Christos?
Hey Corey, hope you're doing well. How you approach this at this type of the season, the losing streaks, the adversities on the games? How you approaching that?
Yeah, well, I actually was just sitting down and talking with one of our coaches today, and he said the one thing about this league is, you're going to win some games, you're going to lose some games, and it's a long season. So just constantly reminding myself of that, that, not every team or no team will ever be perfect throughout the course of a season, and you're going to lose games, especially coming from a program that, didn't really lose much in college. It's been an adjustment for me. And, I was prepared for that coming in, no matter where I got drafted to. I knew that the NBA team was going to do more losing than, in one season than I probably ever did in college. So, that's not a knock on the season that we've had. I think we're continuing to grow and continuing to, put together good games. But yeah, losing's never fun. Losing sucks. And you want to do everything you can, no matter how often or how few or how, frequent or how infrequent you lose. You got to, learn from those losses and try to make them as little as possible, lose as little as possible.
And as the season goes on, did you see any kind of difference, speaking about your role in the team?
Did you mean like coming into this season?
Yes, as the season goes on.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I always knew that I wanted to, have a shot and have a chance to impact the team. I know how much or how little that would be. But I'm really proud of the way that I've grown and the way that I've stepped into the rotation here. And, as far as what I'm expected to do on the floor is pretty much exactly what I expected coming in.
Thank you very much.
Neil?
Hey, Corey, just because you mentioned analytics, I'm curious what your perspective is on analytics. Do you love him, hate him, take him with a grain of salt?
Yeah. I think, I really appreciate them, and you watch an NBA game and, you, over the course of it, you will start to understand why teams put such a high value on it. And for me, it's just kind of keeping it in the back of my head, kind of what shots are more valuable for the team, out of, all the shots that I take during the course of a game, which ones are better and which ones are worse, and try to take more better ones. I mean, just when you start to stack up those good decisions along the course of a game, it usually leads to, a better outcome. But the thing about analytics is that, it's not a hard, fast rule, and it doesn't work every time. Like, there's anomalies, of course. So, you can't live and die by them, in my opinion, but they're definitely useful, and they've helped, our staff and staffs across the country scout and put together game plans and analyze players.
And Kuz talked yesterday about the importance of being connected on defense. If one guy helps, he needs somebody else to help him. What has that adjustment been like for you from college to the NBA, as well as just the overall communication that has to go alongside with that?
Oh, it's been no different. I mean, no matter if you play middle school basketball or you play in the NBA, you have to communicate on defense. And it sounds simple, but it's a lot harder than it sounds. And that's why some teams, struggle with it. And we need to do a much better job of it. And we've shown that we can really do it and do it at a high level. So it's just a matter of sustaining that for, a whole game and multiple games in a row. And if we've found that, doing the little things right often lead to, big results. So that's definitely one of the things that we have to check off our list.
Thanks, Corey.
That's it, Corey.